I don't resent anything that he said about me. It's been fun. Billy mentioned that we're going to be studying a little analytical side, and I think I was just talking to Ollie that there's no rule book, playbook for Instagram because everybody's business is so different, and if there was a playbook, then everybody would read it, and we'd all start at 100,000 followers, and that would really be zero, right? So I think what I'm going to just be outlining is a place to start, and really like one of my top 3 things we're going to be talking about: scheduling, optimizing, and tracking. That was just one of my bullets. Making it yours is my second one. So that's really my biggest key is going to be you guys can utilize this schedule and these analytics that we talk about, but really if it's not your brand, then you're just going to be cookie cutter and you'll get lost in the fold of the 58 million people who have Instagrams. Okay. And then my third one, what we wanted to talk about was utilizing the link in bio. Okay. So we'll start with what I call my 4-3-2 rule. Okay. Again, this isn't going to work for everybody, but if you guys are just kind of haphazardly posting at this point, this is a great place to start. I'll say everything that you guys see on the screen today from my perspective is going to be in a Google Drive, and the majority of you that registered early have already been shared through the emails that you guys provided. So if you saw a Google file come in, that's a view-only file that you guys can download and save and repurpose, okay? So you'll see 3 different strategies on here: promote, help add value, and connection. We're going to have a couple different ones from each of these ideas. The highest one's going to be 4 from the add value section. We're going to go 3 posts to connect with your ideal clients, and only 2 for the sales aspect. So we can go in and cover each one of these. So for the add value section, what we wanted to talk about is educating with tips. This is pretty straightforward. You guys see a ton of this. One of the companies that I see do this really well is Elevest. They actually take Q&As through their direct messages and make these really beautiful question and answer templates. So again, we're just gaining the trust of our clients, and you want to become important and knowledgeable in their eyes as they scroll past for hours at a time, right? You want to have something that's going to be of value to them so they stop and reconnect. And again, the Instagram algorithm's working in your favor there, because the more you interact with them, the more you'll see it. And it's working in your favor as a business if you get interaction. Our second one is going to be entertain with humor. If it's on brand, you guys should feel like you can post anything. I feel like, especially from DIAKADI's point of view, we have pretty much a very long leash. Thank you, Billy. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, like it's on brand as long as it has us in it, shows up our space, connects with the community a little bit, so it's okay. Don't feel shy, it's a little behind the scenes. People really appreciate this kind of stuff, I think.
Yes. We have had a lot of comments on, especially if you're in the fitness industry and the trainer realm, but I have heard clients say that they can relate to you so much more when they do see things that are not perfect about you. So in that same mindset, like being comfortable with sharing when you have birthday cake or when you don't work out for something, like be real, and that I know that even in person that has a lot of value, much less online.
Totally. And again, I think we run into this as a company sometimes, is where we can come across as this big, giant entity, maybe like a Globo Gym or something like that, where we want to bring us back down to a certain level. Sharing things like that, at the baseline, just sharing trainer-client relationships gets that same point across. Inspire with quotes. I will say that this isn't my favorite strategy, but there is a reason you guys see so many beautiful quotes on Instagram, is because it's highly effective. There's some psychology behind the reason people are attracted to these things, because you're speaking to either their dream or their fear. So if you can do it on brand, There's another reason they're very shareable, right? So if you can find a nice way to articulate these to your clients and find ones that are on brand and then create something that is highly shareable that potentially has your logo on it, I say go for it. This is a company called, or an Instagram called League of Extraordinary Women that is a female entrepreneur Instagram that's all female based. And I've started following them when they had 15,000 followers, something like that, and they've got 110 now, so it's been cool to see. All right, second one here, Connect. I have to say, the majority of the trainers that I follow, and that's part of my job description here, is trainers working out. That is under the category of behind the scenes, but again, it's an oversaturated piece of your guys' material, and it is really cool to see some other aspects of your guys' behind the scenes. So there's a company called Hootsuite. If you guys don't use them, that's a great way to connect all of your social media profiles. They do a great job. The majority of their stuff is their company culture. They've got company outings. They have a ping pong table in the office for sure, and there's dogs there all the time. But it could just as easily be, them selling us their program. But they do a great job, and it makes me want to work with them, not for them. Tell a story, guys. This is a great. There's just too many to show. I wanted to find a good example, but to tell a story, this is a great option for you guys to use for testimonials. If you guys can get your actual physical clients involved, get them on tape, make a cool testimonial template on Canva that we'll show later. This is just an awesome way to connect with clients. And our last one, this is a big buzzword for DIAKADI, is passion and glow. I think the majority of the things, if they're on brand for us, show that passion and glow that we have for what we get to do every single day.
Can you talk a little bit about, tell the story, your advice on kind of talking clients into doing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually really valuable, because specifically we have a lot of people who struggle with anxiety and stuff like that, and they're really, really stoked, but they don't post about us, they don't talk about us, they don't want videos or pictures of themselves, they don't want to be on camera. Their whole Instagram is pictures of external, not them. And we're hey, do you want to talk to a camera? And they're absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that would definitely range from business to business. Some things that you've seen work are if you get to the end of something specific. If you're at the end of a challenge, something along those lines, I think people may be more enticed to get on camera to tell their story. John actually does a really good job of before and afters. I mean, that's a simple concept, but you could probably speak to how you're getting people to take that before, which is probably the tough sell, versus the after shot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of when I give an assessment, one of the big questions that also helps in the sale is how do you want to see results? What's the thing that would make you the happiest? We're in a conversation in 12 weeks, and you started training with me. What would be the best progress you could see, and how would we measure that? Would it be going to a third company and do a DEXA scan? Would it be just me doing measurements? Would it be a lift getting stronger? Or would it just be you wake up, see yourself in the mirror, and you see a different person? And I highly push everyone I work with to take a picture right when we start. More than half don't give them to me because they don't want me to put them anywhere. But then I usually offer a couple of free sessions, and then they will give it to me. And you usually, and Tony Robbins says it over and over again, progress is happiness. So when you give them that progress, they're usually even happy enough, even if they had thought, she said, they were hell no, I'm never going to do these pictures. Once they're that happy that they made that progress, then they're okay to put it out. Yeah. And that helps a lot.
Yeah. I know that Natalie will probably speak about this, but she does trainer anniversaries, and she brings in yellow parfait cupcakes and smoothies and gold stars and has people take pictures with them. I think based on what we talked about here is showcasing culture, passion, and glow. That's probably a really good example of ways to show them, and it's not necessarily as uncomfortable as a shirtless picture when the clients aren't feeling up for it.
I probably have clients that are more similar to yours. Are we good on time tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, so just real fast, because I have clients who do not want their before and after pictures up online. They're very uncomfortable with that. And so what I do instead is I find other ways to celebrate them, like if they hit their squat goal or if they hit a plank or something, we do a post about that, and I talk about how great I think they are, because part of my brand is lifting other people up and celebrating how great they are.
And so is your picture of them still?
Yes, or it'll be of us together, like whatever they're comfortable with. But I always ask them, like, are you comfortable with me posting this? And it's because I'm not celebrating, like I'm not saying that they weren't good enough before, I'm celebrating who they are now.
Totally.
So that's how I approach it. And so they're like, of course you can post that. So that's just one way to get around that.
Shift in the way that you sell it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally, okay, cool, thank you.
Last but not least, this promotion aspect is something that we stray away from as best we can. The whole 2 to 6 opportunities that you guys have to post before are to earn the right to promote your business in a more kind of what we call salesy aspect, right? You do have to remember that Instagram is not a sales platform in its essence. It's just a brand platform. So you can, get the client comfortable with you, and then, like I said, earn the right to promote. I feel like we see a lot of opportunities, missed opportunities with sales on Instagram, but we can talk a little bit about an opportunity to use that link in bio to link people to the right opportunity on your website to sell whatever you're selling.
Is the link in bio, is that something that, are you guys aware of what that is and how to use that?
I'm gonna cover it.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then to wrap all that around, you guys, if this is definitely going to be Liz and Natalie's piece here, but to make everything uniform and consistent is definitely something that we work really hard at. One thing we have the advantage of is having Billy and his camera. So Liz is going to cover hiring a photographer, which is huge. If you guys can use a company like Canva, which is free, has templates, you can make them yours by changing little colors and things. I made a post for Natalie in about 13 seconds online. All these colors and the fonts were different. It's a free template. Threw a picture up there and wanted to just give a good example of how easy those are on Canva. Okay, so if you had those testimonial templates like we were talking about, if you guys wanted to make those quotes, this is definitely the place to do it. Super user friendly, and you can reuse and save templates. So Canva is huge. Yes?
Are you talking about stories?
Stories, yeah, we can talk a little bit about stories. Yeah, they have story templates as well.
Cool.
Yeah, stories have been useful, and I think they can really come in handy during this portion of your guys' plan. We protect our 9 tiles pretty well and try to keep that, because we have set such a high standard with the camera, we like to keep that standard at a certain level. So we utilize the stories to post some of the lower resolution images and videos that we're not as proud of, but they still give that good kind of behind the scenes aspect. And I mean, I feel like we get it's a way to track views too, because you can't see how many views are on a picture, but you can see them on the stories, right? And again, the Canva has great templates on there for the sizing of the Instagram stories. Let's talk about link in bio. The majority of Instagrammers, as we call them, only can put one link in your bio right now, right? So if you're linking to a blog post or something, you have to constantly update that. We use a company called Later.com. If you guys want to write that down, this is a free to an extent way to schedule and post your Instagram photos and videos. We now have the capability to automatically post, so there's really no excuse not to be posting 5 to 7 days a week, because you guys can schedule it and automatically post at Later.com. What's the name of that again? Later, Later.com. For a price of $19, if you guys are selling anything online or putting a lot of effort into your blog posts, they have this feature called link in bio. It works like this. I think I did a little screen grab here. So the difference between what you guys are currently doing now is that everything that we are posting is backdated through the image that was posted, right? So if you wanted to go back 6 posts and find the link to get to Sebastian's profile or to get to the event here that we posted last week, it's still available to you there. It's been huge for us because we want people to be scrolling through and still being able to find what we were linking to. Yeah, and it tracks all of your clicks, right? So if it tracks clicks to specific posts. So if you know you're wasting time on a specific template, you're not getting any clicks on it, time to change. Really easy to track everything in the analytics side of later.com.
What's the price on that?
$19 a month. A little pricey. Yeah?
I think my brain did that while you were
Yeah.
You're tracking links that you post within your each post?
Right, so
Okay.
for an example, when we post about today's event, we were saying save your seat using the link in our bio.
Uh-huh.
So if they miss that post, but with Instagram's new algorithm, you see a post from 2 days ago, which is so annoying, right? You see a post from 2 days ago and you want to go, oh, and then you go to our link in bio and we have posted something subsequently, there will be, that you wouldn't have access to it anymore. You'd have to dig around. With this, you would know that that link is connected to that post. Cool? So again, if you guys are selling products online or you're putting a lot of effort into blog posts or certain articles, it's been very handy. It's a business write-off for all you guys.
That's cool.
Cool. All right. In later, we have a ton of analytics that we can track. Inside the Google Drive that I give you guys, we have an Excel sheet that's going to have all these, so you guys can challenge yourself to post every day, track how many likes you're getting per post, track the follower growth, and track your link in bio clicks if you guys choose to do so. So this is just the back end. I wanted to show you guys what the later looks like. Those are the link in bio clicks. You've got likes, comments, and your engagement percentage is just going to be both of them put together in a percentage with your followers. Lastly, I want to show you guys using link in bio. You guys can figure out if you do sell things online, you can connect this to Google Analytics and literally see what you're making per post. Cool. So if you're wasting your money for $19, you'll know very quickly. Cool, this is what the challenge is going to look like. I sent it over already, and whoever I missed out on, I will make sure this gets in your inbox. You have some instructions there. Essentially what you guys want to do is just fill this out for the full week. We're going to do it here at DIAKADI too for 6 weeks. And we'll have our most popular posts, and we'll know a little bit based on our users' movement and involvement, what they're gravitating towards. All right, kill it.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey guys, so Johnny talked a little bit more about kind of the underneath, the business analytics side of Instagram, how to track, how to best strategize. And so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about more of the aesthetic part of things and how to get people to come to your account just based on how it looks. So from the very beginning, when I first started in fitness, I knew I needed to have a social media. I knew that that's the type of account, the type of brand that I wanted to put out there, was something that was very present on social media. The problem I had was, who am I as a brand, and how do I get that out there as a first look when you look at my social media, when you look at my brand, and how do I make that voice very holistic and very authentic and very across everything. And so I, of course, as many of you guys might have done, I bookmarked like Nike Women's, and I bookmarked all of the accounts that were inspirations to me. And I tried for a bit to copy them, to try and like through copying, maybe I would find my own voice. I tried other things like showing a bunch of workout videos or inspirational quotes or whatever it might be, and it all did not seem authentic to me, and it didn't feel right. And I ended up not feeling very invested in my social media, and therefore, why would my followers also be invested? So it didn't feel authentic.
So I've always been inspired by color. Color is something that's really important to me. When someone plays music, I see color. It's like this really cool thing that I really, really love. And so I wanted a way to incorporate color into my brand. And so the way that I did that was I actually based all of my posts on color. So as you see, as I scroll down, it goes through the colors of the rainbow, which is something pretty unique to the Instagram space, and something that keeps me excited about posting and keeps me excited about creating content, and also create some structure for me. So, and this has been going on forever, and it's kind of like what people will be like, oh yeah, check out Liz's Instagram. It's like this whole color thing. And I get so many comments. I get so many comments about it. Another thing regarding aesthetics is making it look cohesive within your 9 squares. So this entire 9 square grid could be an image in and of itself because of the way the white space and the color all works together. And the same is true as I work up the grid. And so this is something, there are plenty of apps out there designed to help you plan. I am pretty simple when it comes to planning my grid. I just use my own, on my iPhone, my photo gallery. And I just rearrange it within my photo gallery. I don't use a special app for that. But there are some out there to help you say, okay, if I put this photo here, what will it look like? And is that the best option for where that photo could be? So that brings me to my next point. How do you get a bunch of photos, Liz, with all these crazy colors, you psycho? And I know. It's because I'm actually trading, and I'm trading personal training sessions. Luckily, we have a profession where we can trade services, which comes in clutch. I know you all are using it. And I'm actually trading a photographer for personal training. So for those of you that haven't yet worked with a photographer, it's a lot of work. And so the fair deal that I've worked out is I'll train her twice per week. I'll give her a program to do on her own. And then every 2 weeks, we have 1 hour of photo sessions. Because what you think about, just like we all create programs behind the scenes and it takes a lot of time, they have to then go and edit, put it online, fix all your shit, and then send it back to you. Okay, so there's a lot of work. So if you're going to approach a photographer about this, I would recommend just keep that in the back of your head, that it's a lot more work than just like, oh, my hour and your hour are the same. It's not. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I've worked with 2 photographers for this. One was Ashley Batts, she's fantastic, and the second was Praise Santos. I started working with Praise because Ashley moved to New York, and now Ashley's back, so now I have 2 people. So what's really cool about what I do, and it'd be cool if you did this too, but then we'd all have really colorful feeds. It'd be exciting. But what I do is I plan my shoots based on color. So you can notice that most of these photos in the grid, right, very laid out nicely, are all the same color and pretty much the same backdrop. My recommendation to you, if you start to plan your shoots, plan content shoots, is to choose a theme. Now the theme for me, that's easy. We're gonna do blue today, so I bring on my blue stuff over. Blue pants, we go find blue backgrounds. I call it color hunting. I'm a psycho, it's fine. Purple, right? Red, so I'm bringing all my red clothes and my red, I don't know, what's red? A nail polish, right? Okay, cranberries, great. Orange, everything at the assembly is orange, okay? So you'll see a kind of theme here, and as I'm working my way through the different colors, I bring props and we find colors to shoot against, okay? Now, if you're not doing colors, you can find different themes. So figuring out what you want to say in your message to your followers. Maybe it's rehab. Maybe you're all about rehab. So you're going to choose a theme. And maybe this shoot's theme is going to be all the rehab tools that I use. And in 2 weeks, we're going to do all rehab exercises. Okay, and in 2 weeks, it's going to be a bunch of photos of shoes or whatever your theme is going to be and whatever types of images you want to include in your social media. So that's what I recommend is every shoot have a theme, because your photographer is going to show up to take photos. They're not going to show up to be like, okay, now let's sit down and have a branding discussion. Okay, that's the work that you need to do. I'm happy to make myself available if you need to just bounce ideas. If you're like, I don't even know where to begin when it comes to creating content. I've been doing it for a while. I'm really good at it. We get it all done in an hour, and it's pretty solid. So if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to make myself available. Yes.
How much editing, post-editing for color are you guys doing?
Well, that's a good question. So that's another really good benefit about hiring a photographer is she, for the most part, none of these are edited.
Yeah.
These are all straight off of her own. She already does a first batch of her own style of editing. So for the most part, I just post them right away.
Can you click on them?
Yeah.
So does she crop it down for you?
So I crop it down. She just sends me a list. Let's see. I don't think I have access.
And you always post straight squares?
I post mine. No. So this one will be longer.
That was my question.
Yeah. So, but it crops it down, obviously, in the grid.
Yeah.
Do you use a caption, like Caption Pro or anything like that, or do you pre-plan caption?
Like these are all just me doing silly things in the same exact place.
Yeah.
So we took all of these photos in a matter of 1 minute.
Gotcha.
And so it just depends on how creative you are and how free you feel in front of the camera, or if you don't want to be on camera, how creative you are in setting up and how skilled you are in setting up whatever you want your image to be. And maybe it doesn't have to be a professional photographer that you trade with. I do recommend that because they're skilled and they have a good eye, but maybe your content is just you doing pull-ups all the time, right?
Do you ever do videos, or you just want yours to be pictures?
Yeah, I haven't done that yet because for me, it's more, I want my feed to be more artistic. And so I save my videos for this guy and
Stories.
yeah, for my stories,
Okay.
which is just me rock climbing right now. Yeah, another good thing, is anyone going to talk about the highlights? Are you guys going to talk about highlights?
I'd love to talk about that.
Okay. Do you have any questions about highlights at all?
What is your opinion on the difference between highlighting? I see that you've highlighted like an actual story, but I've noticed that a lot of people do like their specific brand. It'll be like a highlight, that'll be like a cute little paw print, or a circle, and like a little logo.
I know, I need to do that. I haven't done that yet.
So do you think that's like it seems obviously superior?
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
it just makes it more. It just makes it prettier. I just haven't taken the time to do that yet because I don't know why. But does anyone not know what the highlights are?
I don't know that yet.
Okay, so for example, the story only lasts. Oh my gosh, guys! So I'm just gonna. This
You
is
can go
the
to ours
story.
if
Okay,
you
great.
We're up there.
This makes us feel so much
Yeah, so there you go.
self-conscious.
I like it. So this is a story, right? And so the story, unfortunately, only. I'll let that one play all the way out. The story only lasts for 24 hours, and then it's gone forever. Unless you save it, and then it's still on your thing. So there's been many times where I've shared in stories really good
You
information.
can always look back at them.
I can look back at them.
Yeah.
Yes, I can look back at them, which is cool. So it'll save those stories on your end of the system.
Do you have to ask for it to do that? Or does it automatically say?
Okay,
archives.
Yeah.
Okay, so it archives it.
Archives. And you can like click on it and it'll scroll through all of your stories.
Okay, and where is that located?
It would just be on your phone. But if you go, like if you were to add a highlight, that's where you'd have to be. So I can see where the gratitude one is there. On the back end of yours, if you clicked there to add a highlight, if you didn't have one, it would show you all of your previous stories. So like even for events when we created that, those were all, there's a couple in there that we had posted before and just added them to the events.
So for the highlights, it basically is a way for you to keep your stories up. And so things like, for me, obviously I want to share information. And so I'm going to share information about how to flip a tire without throwing your back out. And now anyone who comes to my page is going to be able to see this. And they wouldn't have even had any idea that this is the type of information that I showed if they come to my profile on like rock climbing day. right? And they're like, oh, this chick's all about, what is she about? So it's a really good way to share things that are worth keeping there or are aligned with your brand so that people right away can go ahead and watch something. Maybe it's videos that you want to share. Maybe it's tips. Maybe it's something personal about yourself, right? Maybe it shares a little bit of humor. But you're able to put that all in one space without the pressure of being like, oh my gosh, I always have to have this on my highlights, right? Or on my Instagram story, okay?
And are the highlights only stories, or are they stories and posts? Or are they just stories?
So if you, highlights are just stories,
Okay.
but if you happen to take a post and put it in your story, and then you can highlight it, that's a way to bypass that.
Okay.
Any other questions about stories, highlights? Yes.
Is there such a thing as too many highlight groups? Because I've seen some people that I'm like, how long is it? And I'm like bored at, like my wrist is like no more.
And so that's interesting, right? So that's, and maybe there are people who are like, wow, so much content because all I do all day is watch Instagram, right? So it just is a matter of what you feel comfortable with, you know, making sure that you're not, if you don't want to feel overindulgent, then don't feel overindulgent. I don't think there's any set rule. I think a lot of people that I've seen have done well have done like 5. So it looks pretty, and they've got their little cover photo. Do you guys know what I mean with the little cover photo on the stories?
Canva has a template for that too. If you can make them
Great.
yourselves. Don't pay for them
Everything's free.
because there's a lot of things that you have to pay for on there as well on Canva.
Cool. Any other questions about photographers, content?
And guys, if you think of anything else specifically you want to talk to Liz about, again, we'll circle back at the end with that all for Thanks.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Natalie, can you pull you?
Yes.
She's up there. I already pulled her up.
Oh, awesome.
I'm Natalie. Hi. So I'm really big on going after your target audience and making sure that as business owners you know who your target audience is. And so I base pretty much all of my business around, is this going to benefit my target audience? Is this going to speak to them? Is this true to my brand? And so the 3 things I wanted to go over with you guys today are knowing your target audience and keeping them, creating content that delivers value, and getting your audience to take action through likes, clicks, and follows. So first off, I used to do, my Instagram used to be totally disorganized. I had no idea who I was talking to. How do I scroll down on the map?
2 fingers.
Come help.
Got this.
Okay, so it used to be totally disorganized and didn't speak to anybody. And not here. This is still good stuff. Okay, this is taking too long. We'll go to the top. But I didn't know who my target audience was, and so just like Liz was saying, I would just follow what everybody else on Instagram was doing. Okay, well they're posting pictures of them doing this, doing a thing, so I'll do that, or posting inspirational quotes or whatever. And I just didn't feel like it resonated with my audience. I didn't feel like it felt true to who I was. And so just having conversations with one of my friends who does a lot of marketing and design work, we figured out, well, who am I trying to speak to? And so I realized that a lot of my clients are coming to me because they want to work out, but they also struggled with disordered eating in the past and a lot of negative body image. And I also struggled with that. And so I rebranded my whole business to be about how can I speak to mostly women who struggle with negative body image but still want to exercise. So I would just say to you guys, the first thing you need to do is figure out who your target audience is. Does anybody feel like that's sort of a barrier for them? They don't know who their target audience is or who you're talking to? Joanna? Do you guys have specific questions about going over it that I can help with, or you're just okay. So if you don't have somebody that you know that's great at it, but I'm happy to talk to you about it, I would say honestly just Google how to create your target market, and it will ask you questions to lead you to who you want to get in touch with. And I think a couple of the biggest questions are going to be, who do you like working with, and who do you tend to attract to you? So when I first started off as a trainer, I was like, oh, I really like training runners, so I'm going to try and attract them. But I'm not really a runner, and so I was failing at it, and so I had to relook at or re-examine who am I attracting, and it was women who struggle with body image. So also, just like Liz was saying, really think about those first 9 squares. So people should be able to tell exactly what they're getting from you. Your short bio up at the top, and then also those first like 9 to 12 squares. They should be able to look at this and be like, okay, well I know I'm gonna get yellow, and I know I'm gonna get that she's like kind of goofy, that she talks about like self-help stuff, that she does fitness. They should get that right away from me. I hate it when I go to an account and I think like, I'm gonna get this from them because this is what they posted in this one post, and I go there and I'm like, this totally is disconnected from what they just posted, because it's like even the same person. So I would say, let's see here, what we're gonna do to figure out who your best target audience is based on like your current clients or just people that you know. Go to the accounts of like 3 to 5 of your clients who you feel like really embody who you want to be working with, who you want to be targeting. And I'm actually going to bring up one of my other clients' accounts. So Kim is one of my clients, and Kim is one of my like perfect examples of my target audience. So I'm not worried about what she's posting. What I'm worried about is who she's following. So I go to who she's following, and this is actually much more effective on your phones because it'll bring up who their top people are. But so these are going to be like the top people that she's following. So I want to go onto those accounts and see what interests her. What does she like to look at on their accounts? Is it like Liz's, where it's like this beautiful spread? Is it a lot of quotes? Is it workout videos? Is it food pictures? And so what I did is I go through 3 to 5 of my clients, or 3 to 5 people who I think are the people that I want to work with or I can attract, and I want to look at who they're following and why they're following those people. And then another way to do this too is if you click on the heart icon, again, this works like best on your phone, but you can see what your followers are liking and who they're following. So if you go there, does everybody have their phone on them? This is actually a lot more helpful on your phone.
Oh, that's great. It's on me.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
These top 5 people, do you have any idea why they're at the top? Is that who they interact with most?
It's who they interact with most. It's maybe who they're liking the most, who they keep scrolling through. And so something when I was doing this, I found that a lot of my clients are on Kayla Etzina's page. Kayla Etzina and I have very little in common except for that we're both trainers. But so I was trying to figure out what are the parallels that they like about her page and that they also like about working with me. Or they also like Soul Cycle, or they like Erica Stens from Barry's Bootcamp, or like just trying to figure out what is it about these people that they're attracted to and that they're also attracted to me. So I was trying to figure out what kind of content they could get from me. So if you go onto your phone, you go to the heart icon down at the bottom, it's going to show you and what your activity is. But if you go over to the following section, and this is all on your your worksheet. If you go to the following section, it's going to show you what all of your followers, what all these people that you're following are doing. Who they're liking, who they're following, who they're scrolling through. It's going to tell you all of that information. So you can figure out what kind of content your target audience is actually going to engage with. I would think about 2, like what you're good at. So if you're a personal trainer who likes to talk about nutrition, maybe consider doing a lot of posts about recipes or beautiful photos of food. Or if you're a studio, maybe posting class times or events that you're doing, like what's going to benefit your followers. Let's see here. Moving on to...
Wait, before you move on.
Yes, question.
So you completely ignored their content. You just pay attention to what they're engaging with.
I don't care about her content because she's not, this is her personal account. She's not trying to run a business.
Right, because our clients aren't.
I'm interested in what she's interested in, not what she's posting. Yeah. Any questions about that?
It's kind of a sneaky way to do your user research. Like the easiest way to just do market research on your clients.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's very sneaky. And you can also tell from that too, like where they're shopping, what movies they're into. You can tell it's very creepy. But it's so
Don't do it to your boyfriend.
Or you could. I would never to each their own. I'm you get so much information on who your target audience is and what they like and what content they're looking for just by looking at who they're following. All right, any other questions on that? Cool. All right, so moving on to creating content that delivers value. So I'm really, really big on making sure that I don't post stuff that's just look at me and look what I can do, because that's what I used to do on Instagram, and like Liz said, it feels like really inauthentic to me. So I try and post content that I think will create value and improve my followers' day. So general rules of social media are to educate, entertain, and inspire. And so try to look at anything that you're going to post and ask yourself, will this post accomplish that for my followers? Also, if you can post something that's going to educate, entertain, or inspire, and also let them know like immediately what they're going to get out of it, that's really great. Like, they know immediately from this post that it's going to be a video about how to market body positive fitness. They don't have to necessarily know what every single image is going to be, but it helps them if they know exactly what you're going to talk about. And my favorite apps are Perfect Video. Everyone always asks me what video app I use. Perfect Video, you can do so much in it. They keep adding more and more features. Jason, who's left, has also done some of my videos, but most of my stuff is just filmed with my iPhone and an app. Also, Unum, however it's pronounced, you can play around with your grid. So Liz does it on her phone with her photos. I found that the Unum app is really helpful for me. You can rearrange stuff and you can see like it's on your worksheet. It's UNUM. And then Photo Grid is also a great one. You can edit a lot of stuff on there, like this three photo one I've done through Photo Grid. That was just 3 different photos that I put together. And then PicMonkey is $9 a month online. You can do so much editing. You can make things look so professional. A lot of the yellow pictures on here didn't necessarily start as yellow. Like this is an orange wall, this is an orange wall, and I edited them to make them match with everything on my feed. Next up, for an action item for you guys, just to make sure you're providing valuable content to people, I would maybe go back through your social media, take a look at something that you posted that maybe didn't get as much engagement as you wanted, and be like, how could I revise this to give it more value to my audience? So earlier on in my posts, I would post things of, again, like, look at me, look what I can do. Like one of them I was just scrolling through the other day, it was me doing an L-sit. So I posted a video of me doing an L-sit, and I was like, look at me doing an L-sit, and nobody cared. And I was like, why not? That's so cool that I can do an L-sit. And then like years later, I'm like, well gosh, if I had talked about like what muscles to engage when you're doing an L-sit, or how to modify this move or progress it, or like who this is appropriate for or contraindicated for, like my audience would have gotten so much more value out of what I was posting. Or if I had said, you can watch the full video of my workout on YouTube. Like literally, there's so many things that you can do to add value to your followers' day. So just, I encourage you guys to go back to one of your posts where you question like why it didn't add value or why you didn't get a lot of engagement, and be like, how could I have added a little bit more value to who is looking at this? Because our followers are busy, they have busy lives, and they come on Instagram because they want to learn something or be entertained, so let's not waste their time. Or at least that's my followers. They don't want to have their time wasted. Any questions about adding value?
Do you ever do call to action?
Yes, and I will get to that just in a second. Yeah. I was also just gonna say, being consistent with the with your content that you're putting up there. So everything, like they know what they're gonna get in that first 9 squares, but you can also have the freedom once you're consistent to add in things like working out with your cat, which has nothing to do with my brand, but I know that people love seeing my cat, and so you have the freedom to put that in there, and then you come across as like a real person. Like people love to see a little bit of that once they know what they're gonna be getting with you. All right, moving on, last one. All right, so getting your audience to take action through likes, clicks, and follows. So first off, ask your audience, or ask yourself, what's the one thing that you want your audience to do? So you don't want to, I think that that's really cool. The link in bio thing can lead you back to like all the different posts. For me, I like to just have one thing that I'm focusing on, because if I have too many things, then like I sort of lose my mind a little bit. So right now I'm trying to put everybody forward to this body positive guide that I made. So everything that I'm posting is about a body positive guide. And so what I want people to do is I want to get them to go to my website so that I can use my Facebook pixel to snatch their information and then Facebook advertise to them. Thanks, Johnny, for the Facebook pixel. And then eventually I want them to buy this reasonably priced body positive guide to build my audience and to build my emailing list. And so in order to do that, I'm trying to drive everything right now towards let's talk about how to teach body positive fitness. So you can't just post one thing that says like, hey, go to this link in my bio and buy this thing. You have to have repetition. Like your followers need to know more than one time what you want them to do. You can't just post it one time and be like, well, why didn't I make all the money that the Instagram social media influencers are making? Like you have to post it with repetition. You have to keep telling people what to do. And so I'll do like 3 to 4 posts that are about creating content, and then I'll do one call to action. And it'll be like, go to the link in my bio to get my body positive fitness guide. Or, you know, enter these lead digits. I don't know if you guys have heard of lead digits. It's this cool thing where you like text a code to a code and then it snatches emails. Lead digits, look into it. It's really cool. Yeah, so you just need to be very clear on like what you want your audience to do, or if you want them to comment, if you want to create engagement, or if you want them to go to your YouTube channel. The link in bio is super helpful. And for me, I've just found it's easiest if I focus on one action that I want them to do for maybe like a month or two, so that they're repeatedly being told to go here. So there's no wrong answer of telling people what action to take. It can be whatever you want, but I would just recommend that it's something that will either get you their email or get them to continue engaging with you. So it can be following your YouTube or joining your mailing list or buying something from you or sending you a DM to reach out for training, but just keep telling them what to do. And then think about your long-term goal, how long you want to be promoting whatever it is you're promoting for, and how you're going to get there. Or how many posts are you going to do? How many months are you going to do this for?
Love your profile pic, by the way.
Oh, did you know that it's by Liz Letchford?
Nice. Why don't you shoot your own photo?
Oh, another option for is if you don't want to hire a photographer, just go out shooting with friends.
Oh, yes. So my last piece of advice is just to be patient. I know a lot of the times it seems like people just sort of exploded on Instagram overnight, but most people spent years and years building up content and building up an audience and engaging with their followers in order to make it successful. And so I finally started to make passive income off of Instagram, but it took a lot of like tweaking and figuring it out and stalking my clients. And so just like be patient and just keep working at it. Any questions about any of the things I went over? Cool. You guys have a worksheet.
Yeah. So I get a lot of people ask me, the first probably few questions people ask me is, 1, do I make money from this? 2, is it just basically how do I get these followers and did I pay for them? I don't make a lot of money off Instagram. I'll talk to you a little bit about like collaboration and why I think that's huge. My first post was, I was just looking at it today, it was January of last year.
Oh, wow.
So it took me, like 18 months to get to 20,000. I didn't pay for anything. I get inquiries probably about twice a month for something about how you can like, pay for followers. I don't respond to those people anymore. So I'm going to show you something because this to me is, I'm going to get you guys thinking a little bit different. You can kind of see like my whole theme has changed. I've played around with a lot of different patterns, a lot of different themes. I'm going to close this thing. Do this one. So the reason I show you this is because I think this is super important. You're going to see this video quality is really shitty.
Also, the deadlift.
Yeah, so, well, this is the whole thing. So the whole thing was just like, I didn't know how to film this thing, I didn't know what to do, but I did it. And I think that was a huge thing to me, is because the reason I started this, and I really encourage you guys to think differently, is because of this. This is a quote I heard a while ago. It was 10 or 10,000. Back then, I was seeing 10 people a day in a physical therapy clinic, and I started telling people a lot of the same things. It's like the same thing kept coming over and over again. And a friend of mine said basically, why influence 10 people every day when you can influence 10,000? So that was my goal. I just started. I didn't think about it. I just literally started it, and you saw the quality of that video is really terrible. And if you go through this feed, my whole pattern just keeps changing. And I'll probably change in a couple months if you ask me, but I just like to play around with it, and my whole thing is, my goal is to help people. I went to school for 3 years to get a doctorate degree, and I'm in this field. I see a pain every single day. That's what I see. A lot of people live with it. My goal is to educate. As a byproduct, some opportunities have come up from it, but I do strongly suggest you guys, what is your goal? Natalie talks about it a little bit. I know on the list it said goals. I think Natalie just kind of hit it there, like have a long-term goal, set short-term goals. You guys have a business, it's the same thing. How many posts do you want to make a month or a week? How many followers are you trying to get? John's spreadsheet was pretty good there. You can track that stuff. Although that is a topic that I was talking about, I don't really think it is as important as what I really want to talk about, and those are the other two topics. So collaboration, what is it? Networking, collaboration, and professional and personal growth. This, like Instagram, I'll be honest with you, it is one of the reasons I ended up switching into my own practice. I met a lot of people through this platform that are very intelligent and doing things that I was doing or wanted to do, and I saw an opportunity. And so it gave me confidence from a personal standpoint to make that growth into this profession, or into this practice I am now. And I know there's a lot of shitty information out on the internet, but there's also a lot of really good information, depending on who you follow. I have learned so much from Instagram that I know it's kind of like, well, it's not really like evidence-based practice, but there are some very intelligent people on this platform that I engage with daily. I learn so much, and I'm on it a lot because I learn a lot. And so I spend a lot of time following like people I really admire and I trust. And in turn, I have reached out and collaborated with them and got to know them as professionals. But so a different light. I know a lot of you are here because you want to make money from this, you want to grow an audience. But I'll also say is that this is not what I thought I was signing up for. I thought I was signing up to help people. I thought, that was pretty much my goal. And then it kind of turned selfish almost, like now I'm learning a ton of information from really smart people. And then you get to see what other people are putting out, and I can question other people, what they're putting out. And we have kind of friendly banter about on the internet, like we'll comment, engage with people and say like, why are you doing this? Maybe I don't agree with it, but everyone's there, at least in the network that I'm trying to be a part of, is to grow as professionals, right? So again, something to consider that you may have not thought about. My biggest advice though is, I can't say his last name, Gary V. I was his last name. Yeah, Vaynerchuk. I think he says something all the time, it's literally just to make content. It's like, don't overthink it and just do it. So I know it's a little different than what other people have presented with, and that's, again, you can have your point of view, but like, my goal is literally to help people, and every day that I try to make something more perfect is another day that someone can't learn. So like, some of these posts, whether you get engagement or not, I don't really care too much. I'm just probably going to repost these videos maybe in another 6 months anyway. So it's going to get out there, and the algorithm is changing, and you can kind of play around with it. You can manipulate it if you want, but I don't know. I think my mindset is just to help people, and I know a lot of you. If you're working as a trainer in this field, I would really hope you guys are trying to do the same thing. So from that perspective, that is kind of like personal, professional growth. People putting out really good content. People are citing articles. It makes me jump to that research article. I'll read that one. People are referencing podcasts all the time, so I'll listen to that podcast. I'm getting exposed to a lot of these different articles and information that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. And from people that I truly do value their opinion and their education. The thing that everyone asks me about is money. So I don't know how many patients I've seen from this. Let's see, I went to my own practice like November, December. My guess is maybe once a month I get somebody from it, if I had to sit down and calculate it. But far more opportunities come from this from not seeing one-on-one. So from this, I did a talk at College Room last year, and I have a talk next month to the faculty now for their athletic training staff and coaching staff. So kind of this rehab hybrid performance thing that I do here. So I'm going to teach to them next month. That's a huge opportunity. My friend, like I said, networking with people. I'm now part of a mentor-mentee program that we're starting for PT students and new grads. Essentially, we are doing a program where I'm going to get 6 or 7 PT students spread across the globe, and they're going to be part of my cohort for 4 months, and we're basically trying to teach them to think more, like in PT school, this is a whole nother topic you guys might not know about. We just have issues with our education platform and how it hasn't changed, and so we're trying to make a change in that. So we're trying to institute this kind of growth mindset into these students, trying to get them to think more. So I'm now part of that. I've teamed up with 2 people down in LA who I've met through Instagram, who I've also stayed at their house and got to know them. We are creating our first paid product release next month. We're making basically a running program, or strength program for runners. So that's something we've been working on for the last month or so. What other opportunities have we got here? Another person from back east, we're collaborating, we're doing an ACL program. I'm telling you, like, maybe it's not gonna necessarily translate into a person showing up and you treating them. And that's fine, like, I like that, it's great, but my whole goal is this. Like, if I treat one person great, my long-term game plan is to treat as many people as I can, cast a wider net. Best way I can do that is through, this is a good platform, but then also to develop these programs. So that's what I'm focusing on, and that's what I've used it for mostly.
Are you ever concerned with people maybe taking your information and maybe it's not appropriate for them and hurting themselves?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and yes and no. So a lot of people message me often and say, hey, my knee hurts, what do I do? And I say, go see someone. Every time. I just say, like, I reference Clinical Athlete. I think that's the best directory out there. It has a map of providers spread out throughout this country, and I trust pretty much anyone that would be on that map. That's my reference point. I think the legalities of physical therapy and doing telecommunication or assessments and all that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know the exact how that works legally, so I haven't played around with it. So I know other people have. But I don't do that. I tell them to see somebody. If they don't, no. You know, if they say like, oh, like this might be good for me, I always say try it out. It's like, use it at your own risk, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a good question. I just usually tell them to go see somebody now. Yeah, please.
Okay, I want to preface this with my internal competitive velociraptor is screeching really hard right now.
What's up?
Because when I first got into the Insta world with my business and stuff, I was purely educational for like a year.
Yeah.
And my numbers were not growing until
Yeah.
I was doing like yoga challenges, and then people were like, oh, you're funny, huh? But like, I know I'm funny looking, but I want to be able to do the educational thing.
Yeah.
What could I take from what you're doing for your education? Because obviously people are listening to what you're saying and sharing.
Yeah.
Like how are you presenting this information? Like right now I'm seeing big words,
Yeah.
simple images,
Yeah.
maybe a little labeling. Like is that what you've been doing the whole time?
No. What?
Can you open one?
Yeah, this is what I'm doing now. I haven't always been doing this. And this one I like the Natasha stuff. So I've just been playing around with this new formatting. This is Canva, by the way. For the record, I'm better at it than John. But so this is new, yeah, digestible. So what I've been playing with is just like, because I could post the video, but instead I just didn't. So this is just, this is my friend Natasha, who's at Cairo in San Francisco. And I saw this on her story and I was like, send me this because I wanted to post it. But you could basically just like that video, but what's more digestible? First glance, if no one looks at the video, at least they got something from it. It's very simple. I play around with the writing. I'll be honest with you, my writing is pretty dependent on how my attitude is that day. Sometimes I feel like really like I want to be really serious and just like write information. Other days I joke around. But
I'm sure people appreciate that.
I write as if I talk to patients, which I don't use heavy verbiage. Meaning I don't get into anatomical terms, I don't get into tight shoulders. Like, yeah, I could say like stretch your lat, pec, whatever, but I just said tight shoulders. Like just very digestible to like that person reading it. But it wasn't always like that. I think your question, I've just played around with things. I found that the big words people just attract to. And I try to like, I don't like the word core, but I still use it because the world likes it. It's very vague things. Like what does somebody want to get when they look at this? Well, maybe that became impressing,
So you label things kind of with vague. I don't want to, vague is a bad term, but
No,
a general terminology, and that makes it more accessible.
Yeah, like where was this one? Where's the need? Like dorsiflexion? I didn't think people would like that word, but people do.
I think it goes back to like who your target audience is.
Yeah.
So like Tony's target audience, this is what they want, and then figuring out what language
Yeah.
people
What
need.
didn't work for you?
I have no idea. I think the algorithms changed so much that actually I don't get too caught up on that. Let's see.
Or why did you change your content?
Get out of it.
Oh, the convenience of me making the video on my phone.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a good
It looks
question.
good.
Yeah, so I use the videos are on my phone, any text is on my computer.
Right.
So yeah.
So one of the new trends that I've noticed is obviously you guys know memes. And when you're scrolling on Facebook, I've ever noticed where you stop on a video that has a title over it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably gaining a lot more attention from having those titles at the top. It's just like this generation in their 20s or like teenagers, they see that and they're like, oh, and they look at it.
Yeah.
So that's just like a new thing that I've
PT memes.
I know a lot of people who use anatomy pictures as a split screen. I think Teddy uses it. Probably he was the first one to do it, to my understanding. And this like anatomy picture thing. It's funny because he did this like a year ago, and I was talking to him about it. And apparently I was like the 20th person to ask him,
Oh.
like when he used that. Sorry, let's get on that. And I asked him because I was just curious why he was doing that. And so I tried it for a little bit, and then I just felt kind of unauthentic.
Yeah.
So I stopped. But I will say that probably gets more traction. For whatever reason, people like pictures like that. I don't use it almost as a point where like I felt like I was stealing it.
Yeah.
Do you use hashtags and stuff like that? Like, do
You
you
always
always
start copying them like she does. It's way.
Oh, I really
get
get
hashtag
it.
all day. It's my favorite pastime.
Another thing to think about, so the algorithm will boost yours to be in front of your viewers if people bookmark it. So if it's a beautiful image that people want to save to look at later, or if it's really good information, so I'm sure that's why you get a lot of, like I bookmark your stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And so it'll boost you up to the top and it's like, oh, this is valuable, this is a valuable post.
I can press it on my phone. So I will say something funny about that, which goes back into the inauthenticity comment. So there's a group of us, like 30 healthcare guys, that created an Instagram group. It was me and like some of these higher names. And our goal was, because the algorithm changed, what they tried to do was anytime one of us posted something new, we would write new posts in that thread. Everyone in that group would click on it and start liking and commenting. But since I left the group, so did most people, because it became very inauthentic. Because I think the idea is that within the first 30 minutes of your post, depending on how many comments, bookmarks, likes you get, depends on where it might show up in somebody's feed. I don't know, like, I understand, like, if the idea was to help more people spread the word, I thought it was more of a way for people to, like, engage, and I agree with that. But some of these, it's just like, yeah, people were commenting, like, really dumb things that end up, they'd be like, oh, great drill, I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
It's very inauthentic.
Yeah, those are called Instagram pods, and I've left
Yeah,
them as well.
it's really annoying to get that, too.
Because the intention is good, but
Yeah.
people end up just commenting like 3 smiley faces. And I don't know, very nice.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to your question, like, I don't know, like, this is what I found to be the easiest for me as far as time. Although sometimes I hate myself for how much time I've spent on these things. And then 2 is just like, it's ease, and apparently it's, we'll call it sexy enough for people to like just the viewpoint of it. But what did I used to do? I used to do this a lot, where it's just like text on words. I play around. But don't get too caught up, because a lot does depend on when you post and traction. And like, I think I'll have something that I think is like such a great post, is gonna help so many people, and it gets no traction. And then quite the opposite, like something that I think is like, why do people like that? But they do.
I feel like that's like normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like normal.
So, like-
I think they're like really cool. Like everyone's like, nah, I don't give a shit. And then I'll just like throw something up, and people will be like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know, like, I just try to post meaningful content, and my thought process is, okay, if it doesn't gain traction, it doesn't matter, I can recycle that in like a few months anyway. But I think the big takeaway that I'm trying to get at is, you know, I'm just telling you from a different perspective. My whole point was to help people, still is to this day. It was also almost like I don't want to say a resume, but people are like if I have to tell someone to do something for like homework, I can just send them that video now, so I have the database. I uploaded this all onto my website and categorized it by body part, so if someone's like, oh, I need to work on hips, they can just go there, and they can just kind of scroll through and figure that out. Yeah, so that's kind of my take on it, maybe a little different than you expected to hear, but I would hope you guys all are here to help people. And so if that is what's holding you back, is like, oh, I don't know how to set it up, just do it. Like, literally, like, don't wait till tomorrow, just start doing it. It's not gonna be perfect. But if your first, what's the other quote? It's like, if your first product is perfect, you waited too long to release it.
I heard that quote from a different perspective, and that's if you're not embarrassed by your first product.
Yeah, it's not-
Yes. You know?